What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. Little quick video here in the afternoon. We'll probably be back a little bit later in the evening with an Eagles franchise, I think. But to offer a little bit of distraction for all the craziness that's going on down there in America, on top of hopefully these triple headers on Saturday and Sunday that could distract you from literally, I have no idea really what's going on. It doesn't look fun, so let's distract. It's going to be playoff prediction time. Now, this website that I'm using is very bare bones. It's not a flashy looking website, but it does what I need it to do. Make me look like a smart ass on the internet. Last year wasn't a crazy prediction, but a lot of times in these type of videos, people want to make hot, crazy takes and overthink things. At the end of the day, as long as you're the guy that's calling the Super Bowl champion year after year, people are going to keep coming back. So I'm not going to overthink it. I don't know how many upsets are going to be. I'm going to guess when all is said and done, I'll probably have a very non-bold Super Bowl prediction, but we'll see as we get there. We'll start here in the AFC, and I'll start with an upset. I'm going to go Baltimore. The Ravens and the Titans. Titans last year not exposed, but they figured out how to contain Lamar Jackson. However, this year, the Titans defense has kind of been a liability. They're not coming in with a whole lot of momentum, just scraped by the last couple games. Baltimore's one of the hottest teams in the AFC. And I think that the tiebreakers, that same Titans defense that was very good last year, I think they're not very good. I don't think that they're going to be able to have a repeat performance. I think of these two teams, which of these two teams is most likely to throw up a stinker, given what we've seen this year? It's the Tennessee Titans. It's almost like they're the best team, but on any given week, they could lose. Like badly, and like to a bad team. So with that all being said, I will start this off with an upset. Give me Baltimore over the Tennessee Titans. Even though overall, as a neutral, I wouldn't care if the Titans won outside of just this me making look like an idiot because I picked the Baltimore Ravens. But I do think the Ravens are going to win this one. The Browns and the Steelers in the battle of the NFC North. I want to ride with the Browns so much, but losing Stefanski to COVID, I don't know if they're going to lose any players to COVID, but losing your play caller, losing a Coach of the Year candidate, that is unfortunate. That is going to be, I think, too much to overcome, which I wanted to ride with the Browns as deep as they could potentially go in these playoffs. Like, I would love to have like a Browns-Chiefs matchup, and I might have picked something like the Browns, but that's such a bad loss. Like, you could have your game script that they work on all week, but then it's going to come to the second half where Pittsburgh's going to start changing it up, and you're not going to have Stefanski there to like rework and come up with some great game plan. So I will be pulling for the Browns in this one just because I think it's a more interesting story, and the Steelers have been generally overrated, I guess, this year and haven't really been playing their best football out of late, which is weird, though, because usually as a Philadelphia Eagle fan, like since I've been a football fan, I de facto to just, I hope the Steelers win because they're in the AFC. They're not an NFC team, but yeah, I just think losing Stefanski is just way too much. Especially for a veteran team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're just going to know that, and they're going to be like, all right, well, let's just alter our game plan and expect that they're not going to be able to do the same. They're not going to be able to make the same adjustments that they would be able to if Stefanski was in, which is unfortunate because I would have loved to rock and roll with two straight upsets. Then for the final game in the AFC wildcard, we have the Buffalo Bills against the Colts. I like the Colts from the standpoint they do have Frank Reich. They have my adopted son, Darius Leonard, on the defense. And they're generally a team that has worn off the stank for me as a neutral fan. I've always hated the Colts as an organization because Peyton Manning, and I hate Peyton Manning. But they've kind of, burned that off. They're an enjoyable team because I like Frank Reich. However, I am 100% backing the Buffalo Bills this entire playoff run. If I had to hitch my wagon to a certain team this year as a neutral because the Eagles aren't making it, I'm all in on the Buffalo Bills. I want to see the Bills. I'm cheering for the Bills. I think the matchup here favors the Bills. I think the biggest reason why I'm taking the Buffalo Bills is not because they're the hottest team in the NFL. No, I will never, for my life, bet on Phillip Rivers winning a playoff game. He is just, like, I guarantee you, either to close out the first half or to close out the second half, he's going to throw just a mind-boggling interception. And that's going to either seal the deal for Buffalo. It's either going to be a momentum shift for the Bills that they'll never be able to overcome. That is my bold prediction from this game because I'm certainly not doing it by picking it upset. But my bold prediction will be Rivers will throw the stupidest interception we see all weekend. And hopefully that's the end of him in Indianapolis. NFC predictions. We have first, I'm not even going to whoever the Bucs were going to play, representing the NFC East, they were going to spank. But it looks like Alex Smith might not be playing for Washington. And you look at the strength of Washington in this matchup, it's their defensive line. You know, they should be able to stop and contain the run a little bit. Oh, what team just doesn't care about running the ball whatsoever? That is the Tampa Bay Bucs. Even without Mike Evans potentially for this game, I'm not going to overthink it. And hey, technically, I'm picking a 5 seed. It's another upset. I'll skip this one for a sec because that's the one I'm going to debate a little bit more. Saints and Bears, it's going to have to take our gargantuan effort from the Chicago Bears to find a way to win this game. I think offensively, it's not a great matchup against a Saints defense who, excluding the Philadelphia Eagles Jalen Hurts game, their defense has been incredibly consistent as one of the tops in the league. They might get Michael Thomas back. Saw some reports that he could be ready to play for this game. That's going to be not very fun for the Chicago Bears, dealing with all those slants. And Alvin Kamara is an absolute beast. And while overall, for this playoffs as a whole, I'm not really a believer in Drew Brees, I think the Saints are, they should handily win this game against the Bears, which leads us to this matchup, where kind of like the Browns and Steelers, if Goff was 100%, I'd be picking the Rams. I think the Rams defense is not a great matchup for the Seattle Seahawks offense, and the Seattle Seahawks are a team that's pretty much an offense only, and that offense over the last month or so has very much cooled off. But the fact that it's going to be John Wolford or it's going to be a less than 100% Jared Goff, I'm not going to bet against Russell Wilson in particular. I think Russell Wilson will be able to find a way to, if it's going to be one of those things where the Rams defense is the biggest decider for me. And I think that if Goff's not 100%, if they're not even playing Goff, it's only going to come a matter of time where that defense is going to get tired and the breaking point will happen and the Seahawks they'll find a way. Whoever Jalen Ramsey is covering, that might be locked down for the entirety of the game. But then Lockett going against Williams, Darius Williams, UAB? Man, he's good, huh? Mocked him to the Eagles when he was coming out. God, that would have been nice. But I'm going to go Seattle. It's unfortunate because I do love both 6 seeds in the AFC and the NFC. They just have unfortunate circumstances. So moving on to the divisional round, we have in the AFC, the Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. It's going to be an interesting game. I think the Bills, even though they're a 2 seed, they're always going to be that second guessing of is last year's Buffalo, are the wheels going to fall off on the Josh Allen hype train? I don't think it does against Pittsburgh. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. I'll be cheering for the Buffalo Bills. I just think of these two teams, the biggest deciding is who's the most consistent team. And of these 2 teams, the Buffalo Bills have been pretty reliable week in, week out. You know what you're getting. You're getting a very, very well-coached football team that can run the ball, can throw the ball, can play good defense. Give me the Bills. The Ravens and the Chiefs, I will say out of all the teams I think that could cause the Chiefs some issues, I think it would be Lamar Jackson. If there was going to be a massive upset, I think this would be it in the divisional round. I don't want to bet. I don't want to be the guy that just bets against the Chiefs here. They're the best team in the NFL by a lot. I think they're in a tier of their own. They have no injuries. If I don't want to have a cookie cutter bracket, I would go Baltimore for the sake of strictly say I'm picking Baltimore because I think it could be an upset, and I don't want to have a cookie cutter bracket. But I think the 1 and the 2 seed in the AFC, they handle business. And then in the NFC, we have the Seattle Seahawks and the New Orleans Saints. This is a game that's also kind of difficult to predict. I think that the Saints have been a lot more consistent, but I don't like Drew Brees, man. I just feel like this is going to be a game where it comes down to, obviously it's going to be the Saints defense. Can they stop Russell Wilson and all those guys on offense? But it's going to come down to, you know what? I'll throw a curveball. I'm going to go Seattle. Just so I'll tell you right now, I'm going Seattle just so I don't have the 1 and 2 seed in both things. And it's close. I'm a little bit worried about that Seattle Seahawks offense cooling off a little bit. But in this game here, if it does come down to Russell Wilson going against Drew Brees, I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. And I'm also going to say I think a team like Seattle would be able to pick apart what happened in that Saints loss to the Eagles. Be like, well, maybe if we have Russ, a couple more designed runs for Russell Wilson. Saints don't like that. They like controlling the quarterback's pocket there. So if you start moving the pocket, you could scheme against the Saints, and then when it comes on the Saints offense, I mean, again, we don't know for sure, even though we talked about it. If Michael Thomas is going to be ready for this run, they have Alvin Kamara. They'll probably just say, hey, Bobby Wagner, have the game of your career against Alvin Kamara. I know you can do it. I'll go with the upset, and I'm not taking an upset here against the Bucs and Packers. I think this is going to be a fairly exciting game from a neutral standpoint, but I'll say that I'm not going against the MVP of the league, and I don't really, maybe I'm going to have some bias coming in. I don't like super teams. And the closest thing to a super team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in today's NFL. So I'm never going to reward that. I'm never going to hope for them to do well. So I'm going with Aaron Rodgers. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers. And I think ultimately the biggest exciting, I think Devontae Adams is going to absolutely shred that Bucs secondary. So the championship games. AFC Championship game is Buffalo and Kansas City. NFC Championship game is the Seattle Seahawks and the Green Bay Packers. For the AFC, I am unfortunately going to have to go with the Chiefs. We already saw this matchup played out. You know, it's tough to do the same thing twice. But the thing in that game was the Chiefs ran the ball all over the Buffalo Bills. They didn't even have to have, you know, put the team on your back, Mahomes type performance, which he's fully capable of doing against any defense in the NFL. So I feel like in this game here, the Chiefs are going to be like, well, let's start running the ball. They had the Buffalo Bills figured out how to stop our running schemes, and they're like, oh, they did? Okay. Let's just throw the ball on them. So, you know, I would love to see a Bills upset, but I'm not betting against Kansas City Chiefs given what we already saw in this matchup earlier on in the year. But still an amazing year for the Buffalo Bills. They're only going to get better as long as they can find a way to replace Brian Daboll as OC. In the NFC, we have the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to boringly have both number 1 seeds go to the Super Bowl. I know it's a little bit boring, but how awesome of Super Bowl is it? I think in this matchup here, it's just both these teams are kind of similar. They rely on their offenses, and the Packers offense has been a lot more consistent. And I think when push comes to shove, if one of these teams has to run the ball, if one of these teams kind of tightens down defensively against the pass, Green Bay, with now they have an added power back element of A.J. Dillon with another one of my adopted sons in Aaron Jones. They just offer a little bit more on the offensive side of the ball. So I have a incredibly boring from a prediction standpoint, but salivating neutral Super Bowl between Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm going with the dynasty for Big Red. Big Red solidifies himself as probably a top, I don't know if he's top 5 yet, head coach all time, but he gets right in that conversation. Andy Reid's, if Andy Reid wins back-to-back Super Bowls, I do think it'd be enough to push him into that convo for top 5 head coach all time. He deserves it, man. And that is my Super Bowl prediction. Boringly, even though this game should be an all-time classic, the Kansas City Chiefs over the Green Bay Packers. That will do it for my predictions, fellas. Let me know in the comment section below, who do you think, A, is going to win the Super Bowl, B, which one of my predictions did I absolutely get wrong in your opinion? I assume it's going to be homers from teams that I predicted were going to lose. They're going to say they're going to win. But I'm going to be excited to read through the comments and see what you guys think for this Super Bowl matchup, who is going to win. And if, I guess you could say, if my prediction is right, and it is the Chiefs and the Packers in the Super Bowl, who do you think would win this matchup? Kansas City, Green Bay? Let me know in the comments. But that'll do it for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Come on, Chiefs fans, help me out. I'll see you guys back here a little bit later today with a Madden franchise video. Peace out.